having to put out extra chairs. That tells me there are more than 2 people in here, and about 2 and maybe a half of you responded. So we are going to, this is a live performance, and I don't want to have to check people's pulses to see if everybody's alive. How's that? Okay, good evening, everybody. That's better. So welcome to Constantine this evening, and welcome to the first of This Is My Life. So I'm your host, I'm Blaze, and before we start the proceedings, there are some really important things I just want to say. First of all, thank you for arriving on time, thank you for your patience. I think we've all got it together now, so thank you for that. And most of all, thank you for showing up. But what we would like to ask you, please do not record the performance, and please do not live stream on Facebook or any of your social media platforms. We are happy for you to take photographs, but in respect to our special guest, Norman Mullings, we're asking that you don't record the production. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Because we want to work with it in a particular way, and this, of course, is the first one. Okie dokie. So if everybody's ready, we can start rolling. I think I've said everything. Oh, yeah. No Q&As. So this is a bit like when you go to Loose Women or whatever those programs are that you watch on television. We are not taking questions. The audience, you are merely observing a live podcast. Norman Mullings will be around later for you to have conversations. So we're just going to go with the flow. Can I ask you to take your phones off? Perfectly silent now, because if you're talking, it's going to pick it up on the recording, and that's not going to be a great outcome. And if you're talking, that means someone else probably can't hear. So to kickstart this evening's live podcast, and we are, of course, going to welcome to the stage. Is that clicking me? Oh, that's a cue. We are going to welcome to the stage. And you know when I said good evening and only 2 of you responded? Okay, so when we do bring our special guest, I want everybody to clap your hands, stamp your feet, whatever it is you do, so that he knows that you are here to support him. So can I ask you now, put your hands together and warmly welcome our first guest for episode 1 of This Is Your Life, a Mr. Norman Mullings MBE. Yay! Oh, keep it going, keep it going. Oh. Can we do hugs? Woo! Fabulous. Please do take a seat. There's your seat. You good there? We've got some water for you. Okay, that especially written by Andre Charles, who is co-hosting this. Put your hands together for Andre, who's behind the scenes. And of course, it is very fitting to have a special song for a very special person. So, as I've mentioned to you, my name is Blaze. I'm a broadcaster, and today we are broadcasting live the first of the new series. This is episode 1, and who else would we start with other than the man himself, of course, Mr. Norman Mullings. So, let's just have a brief introduction. So, from Jamaica to Britain, we refer to our elders as part of the Windrush generation. Norman Mullings MBE is a respected elder in the community. He's a community leader and a lifelong member of Harlesden Methodist Church. His journey began in Jamaica, but he came to the UK in 1959, and he embodies the resilience and the faith of our Windrush generation. Norman Mullings arrived from Jamaica at the age of 18. He is part of the Windrush generation, as I mentioned, And they were invited here, as much of us know, to rebuild war-torn Britain. But he first arrived in Brixton, but I have to say, I'm glad he didn't stay here, because we have the benefit of him leaving Brixton and coming right here to North West London. And he became a rooted member of the Harlesden community. Please give him a round of applause. So, Mr. Mullings, thank you so much. First of all, I would like you to take us on the journey that you took in 1959 at just the age of 18, your journey from Jamaica to here in the UK. Tell us what you remember about that journey.
Thanks. First, let me say this. I am wonderfully and grateful to all of you for coming out this evening, but I am more grateful to all of you who put it together.
Oh, bless you.
And I am so glad that you are able to put together the first of what I hope will be many more of this evening's activities where this is your life. Because when we are no longer here, our history should be passed on to our children, children, children. It's something that everyone is doing, and somehow we didn't seem to get around to doing it before. So I'm most grateful, and I hope that this sort of programs. When I first came here in 1959, just after, it was in the middle of the Notting Hill riots, the Teddy Boys. And I'm not sure how many remember the Teddy Boys or knew about or heard about the Teddy Boys. I was fortunate that my uncle from Brixton, Uncle Alton, God rest his soul, came to pick me up when I came from Jamaica. And I can't remember so much about the journey to Brixton, but we came down, he was living in Leander Road in Brixton. And on our way down, one of the first things he did was, they were in a van, and he sort of a pause, and he said to me, we were on the left-hand side coming down, he said, that building over there is Brixton Prison, and all bad people end up over there. He said, I'm just telling you, I know you'll never end up over there, but I need to tell you that that's where Brixton Prison is. And I will remember that, because the Brixton, I have been through the gates many times, but I've only gone in for short visits. Not to stay, but to see somebody. But I have managed to do that. But when I came in 1959, the things that we take for granted was something different. Because I came here and came with the expectation that I'm going to come for a short period, I'm going to do a teaching degree, and I'm going to go back to Jamaica to impart that knowledge.
Norman, can I just ask you very quickly, what had you heard about the UK before you made the decision for this to be the place where you would study to be a teacher? What had you heard?
We were fortunate that my family are very closely attached to the Methodist Church in Jamaica. And we always have the missionaries who come down to Jamaica. We call them parson. When parson come from England and he come to Jamaica, he was treated with the utmost respect. He was always looked after. He lived in a fairly reasonable house. Indeed, the best things we grow go to parson. And the best produce that we had is for him. We actually didn't even want parson to walk in our son. We would all come together to buy him a little car because we want him to drive to church. Whereas all of us were walking for long journeys to church, but we did not want him to walk. But I felt, and it was something that we recognized, because all our textbooks are written in Cambridge produced. And I thought, if I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to, you know, my parents were in agreement, that's the place to go, because you're going to come back with the proper qualification that you would be able to impart that wonderful knowledge to others when you come back.
Fantastic. So you left Jamaica, you speak of fond memories. You've now arrived to the UK. Your uncle has really nicely pointed out the prison, that you would not be spending any time there. And you remember that vividly even today.
Yeah.
But how did you manage to kind of hold on to your culture? Because of course the UK was very different. Yes, you've read the Cambridge books, but you're now here, it's colder, it's different. How did you manage to hold on to some of that culture?
I remember having to come up to Kensal Rise, because although I was staying with my uncle in Brixton, I'm living between my aunt and my uncle. And my aunt is the one, my late aunt, who is going to take me to the exchange to get registered for employment.
Sure.
Because in those days, and I'm going back in 1959, the halls and exchange was still where we now call it the job center.
Okay.
That is the exchange. And that's where I went to get the registration done. And it was at that place that I also, when I came up, I went to my aunt near Fernand Road in Paddington. And when I came up, and she took me to register, and we went back, and we were talking about if I could move from Brixton up to her, and we started to look for accommodation.
How challenging was that?
Challenging, oh my word. There were the signs that were around: rooms to let, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. And I said to her there and then, but somebody has to challenge this. How is it when the minister came to Jamaica, we were so welcoming? Here we are here, and we have always been kind and generous. And what kind of signs are these? Who's going to take them down?
So was that, I guess, for you, your first experience, a real culture shock? Because
Very.
your exchange and your experience in Jamaica was that when people traveled to Jamaica, you looked after them and you made sure they got to where they needed to get to. And now you're here in the UK and you're not being accommodated.
Absolutely, and not only that, and I feel that also, not only that those signs were up, but also if we are going to change those signs, if we're going to take them down, then while it's good to be a teacher not going to take it down. But if you are a lawyer, that's my first impression. You have to challenge them. And by challenging it, you need to have something about the law. And I remember saying to my aunt, you know, I don't think I'm going to be a teacher. I want to do something else. And she said, no, I have to talk to your father because that's what you're supposed to be. And I said, I don't think so. Even if I talk to him, I'm not going to change my mind. But we were able to find accommodation in that. And then we found that, yes, you can then you can switch your course, but you're going to have to work your way through work and pay, work and study.
Sure.
And I said, that's not a problem because that's a whole plan. And that was what I wanted to do. But if I could just go back, when I went to register, there were so many different things I could do. And first of all, I went to work in a place we were packing furs. Fur,
as in fur coats?
Coats.
Wow.
And here I was, and I spent about a month there packing fur coats that were being sent to places like Frankfurt in Germany.
It's quite a posh first job to have.
Absolutely. And I could have stayed there. But at the same time, I also had two other areas that I've gone and made out applications for. I went to Griffith's House in Marylebone Road. Griffith's House was where London Transport recruited people.
Sure.
And also Evershaw Street in Euston, where British Railway recruited people.
Yes, indeed.
And so I was offered a job to be a conductor, or I was able to also go to the railway as a porter. And I thought, you know what? The wonderful thing about the railway, there are so many different places you can go, and there's so many things you can do. I prefer the railway. So instead of the transport on the buses, I went to the railway, and that's where my journey started.
I think it's fair to say two things. You spoke about working in the fur factory, and I alluded to that being quite a posh job. You are always dressed sharp like a razor.
Thank you, thank you.
That doesn't, isn't it? Always, I can guarantee that whenever I see you, whatever day of the week, you will have a shirt, you will have a tie, your hair will be neat, and you will look absolutely amazing all of the time.
Thank you.
Which really is important, actually, because whatever we're wearing, if we wear it well, one of the things it talks about is the audacity and the fact that you have the tenacity to say, when I show up, people will see me. When I show up, people will hear me. And I think your challenge and your bravery and the fact that you've said, actually, I'm no longer going to be a teacher. There are things that I need to do, and I can't do that if I'm a teacher. Yes. How long did you stay with the railway service?
I spent the best part of 20 years with the railway.
Nice.
About 22 years. But one of the advantage of being on the railway is that I was able to use my time on the railway to do so many courses, and they were quite prepared to give me time off to go to the Northwestern Polytechnic, which was in Kentish Town, where I did my A-levels. And it's from there to Middlesex Polytechnic. So it's good that I was at Euston, but I was able to move around in different sections of the railway.
So did that allow you then to work and study?
Work and study.
Wonderful.
That's why it took me a bit longer, because I didn't realize that in those days one could make an application for grants to go off and study. I know it was not things that I thought about.
So were you paying for your study?
Absolutely. That is what I am not saying that I don't owe anybody anything, but I paid for my education. So I don't have a grant to pay back.
Good for you. Good for you. But do you know, that's wonderful. Norman and I were speaking one day this week, and I love stories. And you spoke very fondly of your grandmother, and you mentioned a quote, and your grandmother says, and you can correct me if it's not quite right, but she said words to the effect, if one wins, everybody wins.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Actually, the background to that, I am blessed. I'm from a family where in our families we have politicians, we have academias, we have people in medicine. But my grandmother, I live with my parents and my grandmother, she was the matriarch, she ran things. And my grandmother made it clear that in our family, we have family who are in Jamaica. We have a two-party system, the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. But we have family in both political parties. But when you come to my grandmother's house, those party lines leave outside. But what she said, we must be friendly and we must respect one another. Because at the end of the day, anybody that wins, we will win. Because we will have somebody we can refer to in either of the parties. Because whilst I may be a staunch PNP and, you know, being everything that they say, we have people who are not PNPs, but we must respect their views as well. But one of the wonderful things is that we have never allowed that to split the family. Absolutely. And it was on that basis that my grandmother always say that, you know, she used to have some gems of a word, but she said, anybody win, we will win, because you need to speak to the other side.
And I think that's been true of how you have displayed that level of community and how you support other people. I want to talk now about a conversation that we had, something to do with Mackerson. We were talking about drinks and we were talking about socializing. Let's share with everybody what your experience was of socializing when you first came here in the UK.
Yes, when we first came, we had, because when we first came up to Wilson, of course, we were still very much involved with some of what was happening in Jamaica. And we used to have, in terms of coming together as Jamaicans, we would meet on a Sunday evening across the Trades and Labour Hall, which is in Wilson High Road. And those days, of course, we didn't have much access to pubs or places like that, because they used to treat us with utter contempt. If you walk into a pub, a public house, because of my pigmentation, because you're black, you were told that we don't serve colored people in here. You can't come in. Or if you do have a pub that would give you a chance to come in, you have to sit in a corner, and he would decide whether or not they would allow you to drink, come to the bar and buy a drink. And those days we used to have a lot of meetings, because whenever we see another black brother or sister, we gravitate to one another to find out where you're living. Because those days, prior to 1965, it was Willesden and Wembley. The North Circular Road is the dividing line. So those are our more affluent brothers and sisters live in Wembley. And in Willesden, it was a little different. We used to have our town hall used to be down in Dine Road in Kilburn.
You see, I didn't know that. I was really quite taken back when you said, I mean, I knew that Brent wasn't a borough when you first arrived, but I was very much taken back that there was a town hall other than the town hall that I knew up in Wembley, which now isn't even a town hall. We now have the Civic Centre. And I just really want to just mention how important today is, how important it is that you've given me some history and that you're sharing with those others.
Yeah, that's where we used to meet, above where the Apollo Club is.
Oh yeah, so where the trade union building is now.
That's it. So that's where we used to meet, and that's where we exchange all our ideas, and where we start to form the Willesden Friendship Council, that if we came across anybody who want to be part of us, we could tell them to come and meet us on Sundays. And as you were saying, those days we had Mackerson and Guinness in big bottles. And of course we didn't have any license, so we would buy a big bottle and we all would share. Or we used to buy an Australian white wine. That's the only wine we
Tell
knew.
me a bit more about, you said you didn't have a license. Tell me a bit more about that. What does that mean?
Because we didn't have a place where we could meet.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's only after Constantine came around that we had a license or a place like Constantine. Sure. But that's for another day. And I'll tell you a little about Constantine while we're at it. Because a lot of people still have no idea of what Constantine means, what it came from, and what it's about. So we will hope that your next sharing information can be a special Sunday. Absolutely. When we talk about the history of Constantine and how it came about. Because I must tell you this, that when we first applied for a license, so that we could have music and dancing
I like this story.
and sell alcohol. Those days we had the London County Council, and I made an application for a license to, as I said, sell alcohol, music and dancing. And I had to go to a hearing, and it was at the Greater Council building, which is just over from the House of Commons.
Yeah.
And when I went to the meeting, it was a sort of a round table with I can never forget, 7 people sitting around this table. And the chairman had his, this handlebar mustache. And he said, Mr. Mullings, you being a colored immigrant, you would not understand how to sell alcohol. And if we were to grant a license, you would be serving alcohol to your colored immigrant friends. And when they get inebriated, they will urinate in the street. And I had to, take a deep breath. And as my grandmother would always said, you were born with morals and manners, so exercise them at every time. So I had to exercise my manners, and so I had to take a deep breath. And I said, my dear sir, I can assure you that when we go out, we never go out without our women folk, and they will not allow us to get inebriated, so we will not urinate outside. They retire, and they came back, and he said, we will offer you a license for 1 year. That was in 1971. It is now 2026, and we still have a license to sell alcohol.
You see, the thing about coming to Constantine, and one of my favourite aspects, is that I get to hear you tell stories like that. And that allows me to build on the ability to tell people about themselves without them even knowing that's what's happened. Because the way in which you do it, it starts off with something that's quite sad, because I find that quite moving, that there would be that expectation that we are not able to hold a license, that we would be behaving in the way that they have described, which is actually probably more like how they would behave, to be honest. But the way in which you said what you said, the way in which you did what you did, to the fact, to the point, to that we are now sitting here with the Z license, continuing and continuing.
Indeed.
I think that's fabulous.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Otherwise, there would be no bar here today. So thank you. So your first job was on the railway. You started to meet more people now. You're finding some places to meet.
Yeah.
You've got the ability to study and the job is flexible. So have you now at this time decided, not only am I not going to be a teacher, I'm now going to stay longer?
Yes, and I am also...
Conventional way, you weren't teaching in a school. You have really been teaching for a very long time. And you have taught many of us still a teacher.
Thank you
are
for
still
that.
a teacher.
Thank you for that.
And we learn from you every day. You also went on to do some other stuff. Commissioner for the Racial Equality, Immigration and Employment.
I believe we're suffering from a colonial mentality that won't go away. That they feel that behave yourself and you'll be accepted. Stop talking about racism. Stop talking about reparation. Stop talking about slavery. These are long time things. Don't go down that road. And those are very germane to today's argument. Because in terms of the one aspect of the education, the teachers in Brent, as a matter of fact, when we were doing our marches, and we were arguing, because not only we were talking about the teachers who were never above scale 4 in our schools, we were also up against police brutality and some of the stories about what police had done to us.
Sure.
And how, in terms of people being arrested and taken to Harrow Road Police Station, where their heads are held in the toilet while they pull the chain for confessions. And a lot of people don't think it happened. And even now, there are, if you're black and you drive an expensive car, you are 9 times more likely to be stopped if you're black than if you're white. And a lot of people don't accept that that is so. They feel that, well, a lot of these black guys carry drugs anyway, and so that's why the police have to stop them, and they're carrying knives. And during the Notting Hill days when Teddy boys were carrying knives and machetes, they were not getting stopped. But we are being stopped because they're trying to reduce all these things. And the number of things that we have marched against, apartheid in South Africa, and people are saying, well, that is in South Africa. Yeah, what it has to do with you?
Sure.
You're in London. We march against injustices of all types. When you think of in the old days, when you put your name down on the council list, when the accommodation that is given to the black man or his black family is different to the one that is given to the white family. And when you raise it, people said, well, you're just playing the race card. These are the sort of arguments. But you know, it was only since 1987 that things start to pick up.
Sure.
And it was because in 1987, we had for the first time 4 black members of parliament. The late Bernie Grant, Diane Arbut, Paul Boateng, and Keith Vaz.
You and I spoke about that because I guess what I see in you, I see in me, and it's about really being able to be unapologetic. I am unapologetic. And when you're unapologetic, you have the ability to stand true to what you believe. And you and I spoke this week about being counsellors and, you know, working in that particular vein. Why did you not go into politics?
I was very much involved in the local party politics, but I never wanted to stand as a councillor or never wanted to be an MP. because I remember having one of our MP in Brent, the late Larry Pavitt, he wonderful man, and his hearing was getting very bad. And there's at one stage, you know, I was so involved with the selecting process and all that.
Yeah.
And if I probably wanted to being pushed forward, I could, because we had some wonderful people in Brent. The Gowdies and myself were close, and many others, but it's never my intention to be a councillor. I didn't want to go to Parliament. Those are not my area. But if you promise you're going to do something when you're elected, my role is to help to see you ensure you deliver it.
Sure.
And if you won't deliver it, I will motivate people to come and picket you if that's necessary. But I've never wanted to be one of either a councillor. I respect they're giving up their time to be councillors, and our MP is wonderful.
Yeah.
We disagree on some things, but we agree on so many things.
Well, that has been said about you, that you agree on some things and you don't, and absolutely right, because we are not one person. We are individuals, and debates are really amazing. We are due to have two main speakers. The thing is with these glasses, I can't see people when I've got them on, so I need to take them off. Yes, of course, good. They're my reading glasses, so when I've got them on, I actually don't know if you guys are still here or not. But on the subject of politics, and I'm asking my team to get ready for we're going to have a guest speaker. When I spoke about doing today's event, there were a number of people that were interested in coming, acknowledging you and spending time with you. And I know exactly why that is. So I'm just going to check with my team if we're ready to welcome our first guest. Okay, so guys, can I ask you now to put your hands together for our local MP, Ms. Dawn Butler.
Is Dawn here?
Dawn is here. Surprise, surprise. Dawn is here. Thank you. Does she have a mic, Sam? You ready? What am I giving her?
No.
What can I give her? Same too. I want everybody to be able to hear her on our.
That's it. You'll have it.
Yeah, that's okay. I've
we
got a
need another mic?
got a loud voice.
Okay, so our MP, Dawn Butler, you've heard Norman say how wonderful he was. Isn't it a good job he said that and you was here?
I know,
I wasn't sure if he was here, I couldn't see you. But Dawn is here, so there you go.
What about our arguments? But you know, it's all
So
good.
Dawn, we just want a couple of minutes, 3 or 5 minutes, to talk about your experience in relation to this area, this borough, any interactions or anything you'd like to say about the likes of Norman Mullings and the work that he's done for us.
I think Norman is a phenomenal figure in the community, and just by nature of seeing this place shows how incredible you are and the things that you've done. You know, we've lost Bridge Park, we've lost the Mission Dine Centre, you know, we've lost all of these other places, but the LEARIE Constantine Centre not only is still standing strong, but is being refurbished and looks like this. And that is something that you just cannot take for granted, because too many times in the community, especially in the black community, things were done on a nod and a wink and without it being properly constituted and written down and signed, and everybody that was involved in making that happen. But this place, I think you should be so incredibly proud of yourselves, because I'm incredibly proud to know that this is still standing and still here. As the MP, Norman is always that person, whether I want to or not, he will write to the Prime Minister. And he was...
I feel like deserves a round of applause. That's more than that. Come on.
He would tell the Prime Minister things, and he would say, like, why haven't you promoted Dawn Butler? Why haven't you done this? And I'd be like, Norman, I'm okay. You know, and he's like, no. And actually the fact that you have someone who understands the hierarchical structure of politics, and then they're not afraid to say, we are here and we are watching what you're doing to our own MP, is actually very special, and I feel very protected by that. So thank you very much, Norman. And then just, you know, you can't do this job. Like today, if anyone's following politics, there's a Holy Madness happening right now.
What, just right now?
Just right now, just in the last hour or two. But I had to make sure that I was here just because I want you to know how much I appreciate you. And I want you to know how much I respect you. And the thing about your generation, and not just the poetic way you all can cuss and leave somebody bamboozled and not knowing that they've just been taken down a peg or two, but also just the way that you all carry yourselves and like your history. Like my mum was 90 last month.
Wow.
My mum was 90 and she still wears her heels. And I surprised her by bringing her to Parliament because I was getting an award. And she was in her heels and I said, where's your flat shoes, right? And then I went and I got her some flip-flops. I said, Mum, you want to put that? And the look she gave me.
Like why would she be wearing flip-flops?
Oh my God! You know, like, how dare you? And I was like, but you know, but I was just thinking of my mum and her feet, and I mean, she's 90 years old. And so that kind of stature, that kind of respect and dignity that the Windrush generation has brought to this country, brought to us, we will never match that.
Because you see, that's the point about the way that they dress, and
Absolutely.
that is so important.
Yeah, we will never match that. We will never ever match that. The roles that you played, do you know what I mean? The community, that understanding that you were all in it together. So the understanding of you would drop a partner and then you'd get your drawer and then you would buy your house or you'd buy your car. That construct, we will never match.
Absolutely.
Because you will get people nowadays, as you said, Norman, who will be like, I'm not going to talk about racism because I'm the special one and they're going to help me. I'm not going to talk about that because, you know, they will sell us down the river. So I just think it's incredible. So thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you so much. Round of applause for Dawn Butler. Can I get someone to get the mic from her, please? Thank you. So I'm really glad that Dawn could be here today. I had to fill out this long form with all these details and you turned up. Thank you so much for showing up. Because now the baton is being passed down to you. I'm sure you know that. So we've had the likes of your mum in her stilettos at 90 something. You and I even wearing them now. So yeah, we lost that. We lost that battle. But the baton has been passed down to you. And if it were not for the likes of Norman, you and I may not even be thinking about politics or entering or doing the things that we do. So thank you for demonstrating the beauty and the work that young Norman Mullings has put into all of us. Can we give Dawn Butler a round of applause, please? Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much.
Have we sorted out the mics? Are the mics back where they need to be? Thank you. And the chair, do we want someone to can we have the chair? Gone. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. So, so Norman, that was a really great tribute, and I mean that sincerely.
Yes.
You passed the baton down, and I still often think about what life was like for the likes of you, my father, Dawn's mother, and others here who are still here today, because we can really now more or less walk into anywhere.
I tell you, Dawn just mentioned the partner draw, and things like that is how we were able to buy our first little flat because we could not get mortgages. We could not get, the bank didn't want to know us because somehow although you have, banks, we have from Jamaica, where we accustomed to Scotia, everybody have to, you have a little money, you go to Scotia Bank and you send your normal post office postal orders to them. Yes, I don't think a lot of young people know what a postal order is.
Does anybody remember a postal order? I do. Yeah, okay.
All right.
The light is a bit bright, so they're not all that young in there. They remember the postal orders.
Well, your postal order, when it comes to Christmas and you're going to send a little money home, you send a postal order. Nowadays, of course, before you come out of the shop up the road, the money's in Jamaica. In those days, you send a postal order and it take weeks. Of course, when I first came here, you have to send a telegram back, and that takes 3 days. Here, before you leave the building, you have your WhatsApp on.
Absolutely.
I was coming down this afternoon, I saw this little boy with 3 phones. And I was saying to Moran, how come I've only got the 1 phone in my pocket which is falling apart? And this little boy has 3 phones. You know, of course, now we all can get loans and we can get mortgages and we look to, but in order to get there, we had to come a long way. And indeed, the partner draw was where we came from, because that was the first time a lot of us have a chance to save up. When you get the first and the last draw, it's good enough that you can have enough to make your own little deposit and go to Williams to get your furniture and that sort of thing. A lot of people don't understand.
Rumbelows, or Rumbelows was another one.
Blue Spot Gram. How many people know what a Blue Spot Gram is? Yeah, yeah. Your Blue Spot Gram with the records that you can stick on top of one another. Remember those? Yeah. Yes. Well, you know, these are the sort of things. But yes, we can now buy the best stereo, etc. But doors that are now open, because with young people, if you look at your iPhone, you just need to know where to go this evening. You have a dozen places to go, and you can sort of take them off. But in those days, we didn't have anywhere to go. And not only that, if you have a little, you know, as a get-together, you'd have a little dance. And of course, the music, we have our Blue Spot, and we could, of course, the drinks would come in a little egg cup. But if you get raided by the police, they'll take away your drinks, and they take away the Blue Spot as well. So you're without music and you're without drinks. But those days you don't need to complain, because who are you going to complain to? Absolutely. And those days it was horrendous, things that we have been through. But we have forced those doors open, and they should remain open. And so we're not going to make, it's not going to be closed as long as we stay together. But too often, people feel that, you know, we don't get involved, we don't want to go out, we don't go out and vote. I was in Jamaica even recently in our last election, and it's only 40% of our population went out and voted.
Sure.
It's frightening.
And
what is also frightening is, if we're not careful, we can go back to a stage whereby when we first came here, the things we went through. Because some of the things that are being suggested is that when it comes to child benefit, if you're not British, and as one of them said, just by having a piece of paper don't make you British. So I'm not sure how they're going to define it. But if you're not British, you won't get child benefit. So therefore, the 2 cap that has been abolished will come back in. Sure. But again, we will be excluded. These are some of the things that are being proposed. And so we can't be complacent. We have to be there so we can still fight these things. But it's good that we have open doors, and our young people, we have hand on the button that they will ensure that those doors will never ever be closed again. The same thing with insurance as well. You know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Also, you know, we discussed that I come here and we talk for an hour, so there's no way we're going to get through your life story today, because we talk for an hour anyway. But I just want to tell you a secret though. I actually have a Blue Spot Gram. I still have one. I acquired one, and I'm very excited. So you'll have to come and see my Blue Spot Gram. But at that time that you're talking about was a time when you were frequenting Harlesden as your local place to shop. And we have some reflections, and I'm laughing because I could really identify. We have some reflections from your daughter Andrea about what life was like going to Harlesden on a Saturday. I know that people in the audience are going to get it, and that they're going to understand it. So Andrea describes what would normally have been a 5-minute walk up the road would be more like 20 minutes. Yes. Because Andrea's dad would stop and talk to everybody, and everybody would stop and talk to you. Now, it was quite interesting because when we were having this conversation, she kind of said 2 things, 2 quite prominent things. One, frustration. But then she spoke about the lessons learned. The frustration is that when you go shopping with your mum, And you know your mums used to have the trolleys, and they got the trolley, and they see their friend, and they stop and talk to them for 5 minutes, then someone comes and joins. As a child, you don't understand the importance of that. But what Andrea is saying now is that she understands the importance. And I just want to talk about some of the things she said. So she said, you know, Saturday shopping in Harlesden, having to stop on many occasions. She talks about being frustrated as a child, but she also speaks about how she describes it differently now. And she describes it differently because now she can see, and she recalls that when people left their conversations, they were looking happier. She also refers to it as possibly a therapy session because, you know, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish, you know, you can't get in the pubs really. There's the challenges that you're facing. So when you come together and you were having these conversations in Harlesden, she felt like that it was therapy. You also taught her, and I can see this, about the confidence to challenge. And in your interview so far, you've demonstrated how you challenge, and you do it really well. And that was one of the learnings, an important aspect of character building, because we still need some of that confidence that you display. As the people that you have passed the baton down to, we still need that confidence. You also taught her that being a girl didn't mean that you should stop.
No.
That girls could change tyres. Let me tell you, my brand new car was going off yesterday and I was like, where's the mechanic? But you taught her that she could change a tyre, that she could change the oil. And that, I think, was a really powerful skill to have. And also, there's two things that these both made me laugh, because I get lost really easily. She said that you taught her to always observe her surroundings and use landmarks like petrol stations or cafes. And I need those because I get lost easily. But one of the things that she made me laugh with, although she said it and she used a different word, she said, always have your quarrel money.
Yes.
And some quarrel money. And that's because her dad's Norman. Otherwise, everyone would say, have your vex money. But she said, have your quarrel money. You should have your quarrel money, and I love that. And then this bit is just so beautiful, and I think people will understand. Bush tea and rum can cure anything.
Yes.
That is beautiful. And then she spoke about a place in Jamaica. And every time I think about it, and now my background is not even Jamaican, but every time I hear the mention of it or I think about it, I just have to go like this. She mentioned Flatbridge.
Yes. Yes.
If you guys don't know Flatbridge, find out about Flatbridge. You pray when you enter it, and when you get to the other end, you give thanks. And if you go over, you ain't coming back.
Can I just add to Flatbridge? I know we're fortunate. Flatbridge does have lights now.
Yes.
But in the old days, there were no lights. And if you're going over Flatbridge, it's actually going into, when you're going into your turn. If you're going into that way, you have to come down. And that's the only way in and the way out.
And it has no sides either, does it?
No sides. No. And it's people who, you know, that reckon if you want to learn to drive properly, you have to drive over Flatbridge. And I am not recommending it. But it does have traffic lights now.
Yes.
So you have to wait your turn. But in the days when it had no lights, it was something else. But yes, you know, I believe passionately about Jamaica. I am a Jamaican at birth. I've lived here for 67 years, but I'm still very much a Jamaican. And I believe, as I said, passionately. But in terms of Harlesden has always been my home and will always be a place where you can come because Harlesden have a community. I have worshiped in Harlesden so many years. It's so, you know, the Methodist Church in Harlesden is where I worship. Andrea was, and both Andrea and her husband were both baptized in Harlesden. Harlesden is a wonderful place. And I will not hear anybody talking about Harlesden is a bad place, don't go there.
That's right.
Harlesden is a wonderful place. And if you have not walked down Harlesden High Street, take a stroll down Harlesden High Street. It's a wonderful place. And it's a nice place to be. People still have time for each other. and we will continue to have that time for one another. But the Methodist Church, I must share this with you. When I first came to this country, as a good Christian young man from, Jamaica, I went to Fernand Road Methodist Church. And the first Sunday I went there, the service was, at the end of the service, the minister on the step shook my hand and he mumbled something. I didn't quite clear what it was, but I didn't mind, so I shook his hand and off I went.
Had you gone on your own?
I gone on my own. I was the only black person in the congregation. There was no other black person. And so, the following week I went back. My aunt was living very close by. And so I was staying with my aunt, so I went back the following week. And when I got there, I was still the only black face in the congregation. And at the end of the service, he waited for me, and when he was coming out, rather than to give me the handshake this time, he called me over and he said, "As you can see, you're the only colored person in the congregation, and you will feel uncomfortable. You will feel uncomfortable. So I would suggest you don't come back until more colored people start to come with you." And I said, but I thought this was the house of the Lord, and I should come back if I wanted to. If I want to come back, you can't stop me. But nevertheless, I hear what you say, so I went off. Now, my aunt is a lady from Kingston, Water Street. And I went home and she said, "How was church? You don't look your happy self." And I said, "The minister said I shouldn't come back." And she said, "Do you want me to go around and have a word with him?" And I said, no, that's not necessary. I will stay. So as time progressed, I went from there to Kensal Rise and then to Halsden. But to cut a long story short, I ended up being the senior circuit steward that hire and fire ministers within the Methodist Church. Now, I could have walked away from it, but I didn't.
Thank you
so
for
you
that.
stay because you must have that tenacity. You see, my grandmother always reminded us, some of us will have to lead, some will have to follow, and some must also be prepared to listen. But amongst all that, humility is the bottom line. And I'm prepared to listen to everybody, and I'm prepared to listen. And I will continue to listen because, it's a lot to learn from listening. And while I may disagree with you, but I'm prepared to listen. But I'm not going to walk away because, you see, that's what a lot of people want us to do.
Absolutely.
They want you to walk away and they can say, well, it's like this building. If we did not have that tenacity to stand firm, and if we were not at one, yes, there are times when we come back and we have very robust discussion, but we are professionals. And when we are out there, we will deal with it. And when it comes in here, we are at one. And that's what we're so proud of this building. This is Constantine, which is a family. And once you're a member of Constantine, you're a member of a family.
Fantastic.
And yes, within that family, we'll have disagreement. But those disagreements must be based on principles, not on personalities. That's what Constantine is about.
I love that. And yes, of course. I love that, and we know that Constantine is so important to you. It's so important to the community, and your request is that we have a special edition of how we came to be here today. There was a different building in this space before, but I do want to talk to you about something that actually is also personal to me. And let me just take my glasses off. So I'm just trying to see if any. Okay. Anyway, I should get some bifocals or something, very focused. There were young people that you supported from Constantine. Now, some of those young people are here. They might not be coming up to talk, but there were some flats to the left of the building.
Yes.
And you provided accommodation, and you spoke about why you wanted it to be young men. Talk to us about those flats and how that all came about.
Yes. There was a time when Brent was going to redevelop a number of those buildings next door. Some of them have been knocked down to extend the center, and there were some in Church Road as well. And we approached Brent. We have argued that we have a lot of young men, for one reason or another, they were at variance with their parents, and that they were homeless. And we are saying that while you're waiting for the developers to come along, why can't we lease them on a short-term basis? We will move when you need these properties. You don't have to worry that you're going to have to take us to the county court to get eviction or anything done. We will sign an agreement, a license agreement, that we can make these short-life properties. And it took a long time, but we managed to achieve that, where we were able to provide accommodation for a lot of young men, in particular those who were, as I said, were not getting on with their parents, and in some cases they were also abused. But they need somebody to look after them. It needs a place where they will feel secure and where they could feel that somebody cared. And that's what we did. And I did it for many, many, many years until, of course, during when there was a change of administration and the leadership wanted everything back.
Sure.
And we didn't have the backing, and because some people fall over the first time that the council leader said anything, whereas I would stand firm. But we didn't have the support at the time, and so we had to hand back all the short-term properties. And what is very concerning is even after we hand them back, they were still empty. But we had to hand back a lot of them. But during that time, we were able to stabilize a lot of young men who otherwise would have, we're not sure what would have happened. But we helped them to get onto stable accommodation, whereby they move from that into proper flats.
And I do want to say to you, if you don't know, you should know that there are adults now that were those very same young people that lived in that property at a time that you created that space, who will say today that you are absolutely responsible for who they are now. They will say today, if not for you, as the people said, dog, would I eat them dinner?
Oh, okay.
So you have made a significant difference, and I know this firsthand. You've made a significant difference to those young people going on to be adults, to be fathers, and almost grandparents, some of them actually. And they talk fondly, like last week, as if it were today. So I want everyone to just put their hands together and thank you for creating that space.
Thank you.
I don't know, let me take the glass off again. Is my next guest here, Sandra? My next speaker is Angie here. Okay. So, I don't know the time either, so how are we doing for time? Is anyone able to tell me how much more time we've got? Okay, cool. So, so you did lots of work for these young. Is there anything you want to say, having heard that? Did you realise actually the impact that you were having on these young people?
I believe that some of the things that they come back to me with, and what is also good is that a lot of those young people, although they were having difficulties, it was good to watch them bonding together, how they became helpful to one another. And some of the things that came back from that, and some of the things that it's really, really heartening, is when you meet them and when they come together, as I normally do if it's a funeral or it's a gathering, and I would say, well, I remember you, I can't remember you. And they said, yes, we were all here. But they all kept together. They all, notwithstanding, they've done very, very well indeed. But they still remember where they're coming from. And they still retain that commonality. They become part of each other. And that is good, because too often we get into what I call, we get rich and switch. We move on. And I can remember in the days when at Constantine, we have people who we support in getting onto, whether it's football or netball or whatever. And in terms of some of the things I personally had to do was I remember we had a football team, and they did a lot of matches all over the country, but they got into the Middlesex League, and there was every year I had was to go to apologize. They were good, but some of the spectators who came with them were always at variance with everybody.
So you had to apologise?
I had to go along to apologize on behalf of what the spectators are doing. And at one stage they're suggesting that I should be responsible for these spectators not coming. There was one spectator in particular that whenever the referee said anything that he did not like, he would walk up, pick up the referee and floor him. And I thought, you can't do that. But he was at every... And
he was just a spectator,
he was
a player?
Spectator, he was not a player. And how am I to say to him, you can't go to the next match? Because,
you keep picking up the referee. But that's great though, because you've got some fond memories. You see, I think the thing about you is your ability to move in different spaces like a chameleon, and now you're showing us that you're a poet. What is it you say, you get rich and switch?
Yes.
Rich and switch. I have to remember that one. You're also a poet and have a wonderful way with words. So I know we're not going to really talk about Constantine from beginning until now, but I just wanted to mention the flats on the side, and we will talk some more about that.
Right.
Now, we've heard already, and you can see actually, we've had to get extra chairs. You can see there are people that want to know more about who you are, more about who they can be as a result of, because we are who we are as a result of the work that yourself and others from that generation have done. Now, we were talking earlier about a day for you that was really important. And we spoke about it and we laughed about it, and we will be finding some photographs about it. And that was in 1999. Yourself, myself, and your son-in-law Trevor, we were talking about that day earlier today, when you were awarded an MBE for your outstanding contributions to community service and interfaith work.
Yes. I think that the date on that was in 91.
Was it 91?
91 I was awarded in the Queen's Birthday Honours List. That will always be a time I remember. And of course, being driven to the palace by my daughter and my son-in-law now, I mean, that's nearly over 30 years ago. They were not yet married, they were only teenagers. But to be driven through the palace gates, and I remember saying to Trav, make sure you don't knock over the guard. We never get in here again. But it was such a wonderful day to be taken to the palace to receive my MBE from the Queen. And you know, it's something that I will always, I'm proud of, and will always be, I'll always remember. But the way, you know, it came about because of the amount of work around the schools in Brent, because it was awarded because of my involvement in particular in education. And as I was saying earlier on, that there was a time when in Brent, most teachers, black teachers, were scale 4 or below. And I remember talking to different people and said, look, we need to become involved in the schools. We need to know what's happening. And not only that, we can also help to support some of the teachers.
Sure.
I was on Aylstone governing body. I was on Furness governing body. I was at Brownsboro and Kilburn governing body. And it was, when you are in a governing body, it takes up most of your time. But you need to know what's happening in the school, not just when they send you the brown envelope,
sure,
and you go down there and they're going to exclude your kid. You need to know what's happening before that happens. But it takes up time. And when I talk to certain people, I always said, you know, if it's, when do they meet? And I can't come on Tuesday because that's when Coronation Street is on, or I can't come on Thursday, that's when EastEnders is on. And I said, well, what about Johnny's education, which is more important? And so it was those sort of arguments, but we did it. And so by helping out in the schools, it also benefit the teachers, because then teachers realize that on the governing body you have a black person. So when we're going to shortlist, it's not just down to the head and somebody from the town hall.
Sure.
I will have to see them and decide who we will call for interviews. All those things matters. You can't do it outside. You have to be in it to change it.
Sure.
So I was part of that changing method, and yes, it was true that the MBE came. But I would.
But a great day. It was a great day.
It was, and
you
I
remember
thoroughly
it fondly.
Very much so.
And I don't even need to ask you how sharp you looked. I know that you looked. I mean, you could have been sharper than sharp.
Indeed, and because I was told the dress code is you have to wear a morning suit, so I had to go and hire one, because I don't have a morning suit. So I had to hire one.
you don't need a morning suit, but you needed it for that occasion. So thank you for that. What we're going to be coming to a close soon. What, if anything, would you say was one of your, and it's probably going to be difficult because you've got a lot of memories. What was one of your proudest moments aside of the MBE? Is there another time when you felt like, actually, I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right thing, and I remember those things that my grandmother said?
Yeah, but I think during the process of the rebuilding of this building, I am very proud and happy to have worked with a team that we have achieved what a lot of people said would never happen, because the amount of people who said they're never going to have another center. There is a picture in the foyer where when we knocked down the old building and it went sort of a viral, and people said we were burying the old building, and that was it. We're burying it, so it's never going to rise.
And that was in the newspaper?
It was in a lot of the national newspaper, and it was circulated all over the place. And it was in the Caribbean. I had somebody ringing me from Jamaica to ask, tell me a little more about it. And yes, it was the time, and as I said, there was a picture of it in the main hall as you come in. You must look at it. But I feel so proud to know that I've been part of a team, that we have achieved what people said would never happen, that we have rebuilt Constantine, and it's a place for the next 125 years, belongs to us, with the option of extending that lease. It's a lease of 125 years with the option of extending it. That means for the next 125 years, it's ours. And therefore, that makes me feel very good that we are leaving a lasting legacy. And this is a place owned and managed by black people for our community.
Absolutely. Do you know, we have a Black History Month, whether people are signed to it or not, that's a whole other podcast. But we celebrate lots of heroes and sheroes, and we talk about people who, were born in 18 whatever and lived to da-da-da-da-da. There's a thing called the dash, which is the bit that goes in the middle. And sometimes we don't know enough. In fact, there's a poem about the dash. We don't know enough about what happens in the middle because people don't get to tell their stories. And I was fine today. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Where's the plant going to go? Where's the flag going to go? Light some candles. And then when you were walking up, I was like, I don't know if I can talk because I was emotionally moved by you being brought up. And what it was that is how we should celebrate you. That is how we should protect you. That is how we should say thank you to you. You should be looked after. You should be honoured. Because how many people can say or have said or will say that they've secured something for 125 years?
Yeah,
with all of the challenges, with the, maybe you can have a Mackerson this Sunday, but maybe you can't. You know, I don't know if you can live here, actually. And maybe if we give you the license, then your men, I don't know if they will behave appropriately. And so for all that you went through, for the journey that you took to be here, and the journey that you have taken us on today, I can't tell you how I feel it in the seat of my soul. I feel it in my core. And I salute you. And I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I love stories, and you're an awesome storyteller, as well as I love laughing, and you make me laugh every single time.
Thank you so
I
much.
just want to close a little bit by, I don't know if Andre's got anything, but I want Andre to perhaps to start thinking about the fact that you, myself and Andre have spoken about the songs that you like, because I love music as well.
Yes.
And also, you know, it's Reggae Month, right?
Yes.
It's Reggae Month. So who are some of your favourite artists, or are there any songs that, you know, I don't know, steer it up, or...
Yeah, but I tell you...
What are your songs?
Well, you know what, I always, when I have long drives, I always put a John Holt.
Are you singing? I knew it.
I used to put a John Holt CD in the car, and you know, I would be going on for miles listening to John Holt.
So John Holt, I love John Holt, and this, of course, it is Reggae Month. February is Reggae Month, and reggae, I've got to say, is my first love. I used to be a bit of a soul head for a little while, but I returned to reggae. And the Blue Spot Ground was important because for those days when we couldn't go to the pubs, we could stay at home in what we refer to as the Caribbean front room. So before we say good evening, good night, and thank you, Andre, I don't know if, do you have anything that you could, okay, let's turn up a little bit, let's celebrate a great man that is Mullings MBE. No, you're not moving, you can move though. Your blue eyes should be brown eyes though, baby. To want me the way that I want you, the way that it should be, baby. Okay, Andre. Only let it be. Thanks, Andre. So, I've just remembered I have a quick tribute. This is a tribute all the way from Jamaica. And when people heard that we were doing this talk, I was contacted and asked if I could read this tribute to you. Norman's legacy is a testament to his unwavering passion for promoting the rights and well-being of Black people. His tireless advocacy has enabled countless individuals to build a life here in England, and his influence continues to inspire positive change. Norman, your contributions to the Black community are immeasurable, and your selflessness is a shining example to us all. Thank you, and God bless you. And this is from a lady by the name of Merelda Powell, and she now resides in Jamaica.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you Thank you so much.
Do you have any final words before I just say how much I adore you?
I am so glad, and I thank you so much.
Oh.
Thank you. But as I said before, we must impart some of our knowledge to others, because we must remember that we're passing through. So we must leave that lasting legacy. And thank you so much for putting on this first one. And this will be the first of many. And I suppose it's only right that as chairman, I can do the first one.
Absolutely.
And others then can follow, because there are a lot of us with a lot of things to say and a story to tell. And I'm grateful to you all for taking out, this afternoon that you could be somewhere else, but you come in, and that's wonderful, and long may it continue. Thank you so much.
Can we stand and celebrate? What's amazing about today is that we're here because Norman loves a challenge. We were here, I was stood on this stage in this spot, and I said, Norman, I think we should tell your story. Was that about 2 years ago?
Yes.
About 2 years ago. And because he said yes, here we are. So can we put our hands together one more time for Norman Mullings?
Thank you so much.
Oh, bless you. Wasn't that wonderful? So guys, thank you so much. I've been your girl Blaze, and I'm out.
Yeah.
How wonderful. Oh. Where's Andre? Andre? Huh? Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just want to ask everyone. Yes, thank you. Okay, before. Am I on? 1 2 1 2.
Speak loud.
1 2 1 2.
The same.
1 2 1 2. Okay. So today, can I have your attention for just one moment, please? Just one more moment, please. Those at the back, can I ask you to just bring your voices down for me, please? If you're standing next to someone who's talking, can you ask them to stop talking, please, for me, for just a moment? Thank you so much. So, when I mentioned about interviewing Mr. Mullings and telling his story, he does what he always does. He collaborated, and he asked me if I could do that and share this space with another individual. I want you guys to put your hands together and welcome the fabulous Andre Charles. Andre, this is the first time we've worked together. I hope we'll be doing many more. I don't know, is there anything you want to say about today?
Today was really, really fantastic. Mr. Mullings, I have a lot of respect for you. I think from the first time that I met you, almost coming up to 2 years, and I shared my vision with you, you said to me that you were the person we were looking for. And you embraced me as a professional. You've also embraced my beautiful daughter, my family. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. And I pray that our partnership for this community will live on and will make waves within the community, touching people's lives, touching our young people, and making a massive difference. So thank you so much.
Well done. I also want to say thank you to the team. I have Ola of Nico Soft TV. I also have, and this is a very special tribute, much of you will know him, you've probably seen him at any other event you've been to. He's at all the events that I am at. But I want to say thank you to eyesam and to Jelani, son Jelani. It wouldn't have been so wonderful if we hadn't all worked together. And thank you to Trevor and the team at Constantine. Thank you to Andrea for sharing. Thank you to Maureen Mullings also. And a big thank you to all of you. I am just really overwhelmed with the turnout. Although I expected nothing less for you.
Yes, thank you.
With his morning suit, isn't it? Okay, so yeah, so we can put the music back on, thank you so much, and we can play some music. I think you're all welcome. I think the bar's going to reopen, is that right?
Yes.
The bar's going to reopen, so it'd be wonderful if you sit and have a chat. our special guest himself is going to still be around, and Dawn might even be around for a Mackerson or two.
I have just one announcement, everyone. Everyone who is in here today, on this March the 7th, the LEARIE CONSTANTINE will be putting on an event to support our mayor and his charity. So please support that. It's going to be on the 7th. We're going to have a good time here. It's a gala. It's a time where you can dress really nice. Put on your suits and put on your dandan. All right. So the 7th of March. You can see me for tickets, and you can also get your tickets from Eventbrite. If you buy it on Eventbrite, then you'll pay fees. If you buy it from me, no fees. So it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And then it is only $45 for a 3-course meal.
Pounds.
So, oh my God. £45, not dollars. £45. Thank you guys so much.
Right.
Thank
Okay.
you. So, no, Sam, do you want to take your photo now?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Sam and I go back a long way.
Sandra or Paige, did you get any? Was it good from
I
there?
want to get the people in the background.
Okay.
Yeah?
Just got
Can you see them?
Okay.
I'm probably holding on for more. How was that then? Did you love it?
It's okay. She's here with Andre them over the back there. Tell me, the Prime Minister still staying.
How did it come out, Sam?
Now,
How did the whole thing look?
Well, you know, because people want.
Morgan's gone now.
Yeah, well, he will leave man now.
But he had to get rid of Morgan this weekend.
Yeah.
But not